Most people live in a state of unconsciousness. They do not question their thoughts or emotions and beliefs. They accept the world as it appears, never realizing their perception is filtered through conditioning. This ignorance, it's not a lack of intelligence, but a failure to recognize the forces shaping their reality. As a result, they live in delusion, mistaking their mental constructs for truth. Delusion leads to misperception. Instead of seeing things as they are, people see what they expect or fear. Their minds distort reality to fit patterns. From this misperception comes identification. They believe they are their thoughts, emotions, and roles. They cling to ideas about themselves, mistaking the false self for who they really are. This identification fuels desire, the longing for experience, status, or control to reinforce their fragile sense of self. Desire breeds attachment. People become emotionally tied to outcomes, possessions, and relationships. They assume these things define them, so they fear losing them. Attachment leads to expectation, the belief that life should go a certain way. When reality does not conform, entitlement follows. People feel wronged, as if life owes them something. But life does not obey personal demands. Unmet expectations lead to disappointment. Instead of accepting reality, people resist it. They fight against what is, creating frustration. Frustration turns to anger as they seek something to blame. When anger finds a target, it becomes blame, projecting responsibility for suffering onto others, society, or fate. This externalizes the problem, ensuring no resolution. Blame hardens into hatred. The mind, unwilling to let go, clings to resentment. Hatred poisons perception, turning everything into further proof of injustice. Over time, this festers into bitterness, a state where suffering is no longer a passing experience, but a permanent identity. At this stage, people do not simply experience suffering, they become suffering itself. For some, suffering breaks them. For others, it forces reflection. They begin to question the patterns that led them here. This questioning leads to seeking, a genuine search for truth beyond the illusions they once accepted. As they examine their beliefs, awareness emerges. They see, perhaps for the first time, that they were never in control, only reacting to programming they did not choose. Awareness brings disillusionment. The false self they protected for so long is exposed as an illusion. This is painful, but it is necessary. If they resist, they will fall back into suffering, but if they surrender, something shifts. Surrender is not defeat, it is the release of illusions, and in that release, clarity is born. For the first time, they see reality as it is, not as they wanted it to be. With clarity comes love, not the needy, conditional love of attachment, but a state of being. Love gives rise to compassion. They see others trapped in the same illusions, and instead of judgment, they feel understanding. Compassion brings patience. Growth takes time, and they no longer rush the process, and patience turns into endurance. The truth is not always easy, but they no longer abandon it when challenged. Through endurance comes deep understanding. They see the mechanisms of the mind clearly, without distortion. This leads to insight, the ability to recognize illusion before being trapped by it. From insight, detachment arises, not indifference, but freedom from false identification. They are no longer bound by the shifting tides of emotion and circumstances. Detachment makes acceptance possible. They no longer demand reality to be different. They see it, accept it, and act with wisdom rather than reaction. And finally, there's mastery. But mastery is not about controlling oneself, it is about surrendering completely. In surrender, the illusion of control dissolves and a higher will takes over. No longer ruled by personal desires or resistance, one moves in harmony with truth itself. This is not submission to an external force, but alignment with reality as it is. From this state, wisdom emerges, the ability to see without distortion, to act without attachment, and to know without doubt. And with wisdom comes freedom, not the fleeting freedom of chasing desires, but the unshakable freedom of one who has transcended illusion. This is the path out of darkness. It begins with unconsciousness and ends in freedom. Most will never walk it, but for those who do, everything changes. The question is, have you already taken the first step?